What's up, everybody? Bill Tendo back again. We're gonna do us another. I should use this music more. My buddy made it for me. Oh, Bro Roshan, great musician. Check him out. So, we're gonna do another one of these 10-part list of great lies that Hulk Hogan has told, as we dig down the rabbit hole of why is Hulk Hogan such a liar? Why does Hulk Hogan lie so much? Holy macaroni. This guy says some of the most ridiculous shit you've ever heard in your entire life with absolutely no way to back any of it up. If there's a wrestling story, he somehow inserts himself in it. Lots of things that have absolutely nothing to do with him. But these are 10 more of my favorite lies that Hulk Hogan has told. Alright, we're going to start with 1986. Claims to have drank John Belushi under the table after WrestleMania 2. That's crazy because John Belushi... In 1986, he claims after WrestleMania 2, he drank John Belushi under the table, which is crazy because John Belushi died 4 years before that. Why does he say these things? I have a couple of his Japan claims tonight because they're pretty fucking wild. So let's move on to number 2. And number 2 is he claimed to have killed Antonio Inoki during a match in Japan, and then he was brought back to life by CPR backstage, and then claims he couldn't go to Japan for many, many years. I believe he said 15 years after that because the Yakuza had a hit out on him. After his match with Inoki, which Inoki laughed and said he didn't even sustain an injury, much less die from wrestling Hogan. Hogan wrestled in Japan off and on for the rest of his career. He didn't ever have a hit on him by the Yakuza. That's insane. So we're going to go on to number 3. One of my favorite periods of all time because my cousins were Hulkamaniacs. Me, I was a Macho Man guy. So when the Mega Powers were a thing, when they were tag teaming together, that was like a real big deal. Even though you knew they kind of really hated each other. And a lot of that anger was brought out in the ring. But Hogan claims that when the Mega Powers exploded, which was the big fight between them that broke the tag team up, he claims that it was a real fight and the cameras just happened to catch it. It was broadcast live on television at the time, and people did record it on their VCRs, so there is tape of it, and the tape clearly shows Hogan not knowing that they're live, standing there, and tells the producer, "Count me down before we go live, so we know to start fighting," and the producer says, "We are live." So, why he would try to say that was a real fight between him and Randy Savage, and that it was just happened to be caught on camera, is, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. A lot of his lies don't make sense. So we're going to move on to number 4. He claims to have spent a plane ride to Japan sitting next to and talking about life and the meaning of all things with Kerry Von Erich. 3 days later, Kerry Von Erich killed himself. Kerry Von Erich was in a lot of trouble. He had warrants out for his arrest and such. And when he committed suicide, he also wrestled in Texas, where he lived, just 6 days before he committed suicide. And by all reports, he never left Texas, much less flew to Japan, sitting next to Hulk the Liar Hogan. it's insane to me. There's so many lies he's told where he inserts himself into someone's life story right before they die. He claims that him and Macho Man became best friends and put everything behind them a week before Macho passed away. You know, so it's kind of like that. He claims to be there with everyone right before they die, and that they all make amends with him, and they all love him. He claimed the same thing about Roddy Piper, and we know that's not true. All right. So, number 5, we're going to go back to Japan for another claim. He claimed that Tatsumi Fujinama, at the behest of his boss in New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hogan was there with the WWF title, and he claims that Fujinami tried to shoot a match on him and steal the WWE title, and he had to fight him for real, and that he beat him. Fujinami is known to be one of the absolute most professional wrestlers to have ever wrestled. So, not only would something like this, because Hogan claims it was at the behest of his boss, they had a very lucrative deal going with New Japan Pro Wrestling and WWE at the time. So not only would that action have screwed up a very lucrative deal for both parties, but Fujinami would have never done it. It's just not the type of person he is. A lot of people have weighed in on this, and basically the consensus is, by the way, Fujinami and New Japan Pro Wrestling directors have denied that this is true, that it never happened. But not like the general consensus here is that he would have actually replied, if that's what you want to do, you're going to have to get someone else to do it, because he wouldn't have done it because of his level of professionalism. So, oh yeah, and also the match in question, I think Hogan actually lost. So we're gonna move on to number 7. Claims to have been the one to, quote-unquote, find Kevin Owens, and knew he was going to be a star, and started telling Vince McMahon to push him. Okay, a couple things about this story that are easily proven false. Number 1, Kevin Owens coming into the WWE and starting his rise, and when he was in NXT, happened during the period of the Hogan scandal when WWE had scrubbed him from all existence for being recorded using the N-word and making lots and lots of racist remarks. Is Hulk Hogan racist? Yes, it's been proven. But that's... So I guess that would be another one of his lies when he says he's not racist. But he was recorded making a racist tirade. Anyway, he didn't find Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens spent 10 years in the Indies building his name, building his reputation, showing off his skill set and making it better and better until he was picked up by NXT, and then on to WWF from there, because we all know NXT is owned by WWF, and chances are it was probably Triple H. Alright, but Hogan had zero contact with WWE during this time period, so why would they take a call from him and say, you really need to push this guy in the Indies? Why? That doesn't make any logical sense. Alright. Nope. Was that number 6? That was number 6. So we're on to number 7. I think I just said 7, but now we're on 7. Claims that The Rock broke his ribs at WrestleMania 18. Much like his match with The Undertaker, where he convinced The Undertaker he broke his neck and that he messed him up, and it was just a lie. You should find the clips of Undertaker talking about this because it's very interesting. He said that The Rock broke his ribs with a rock bottom, at WrestleMania 18. The truth is, he went into the match with messed up ribs. He had injured them 3 days before at a house show against Rikishi. So, and Hogan even admitted this later. So, for quite a while, and a number of years, he insisted that The Rock broke his ribs with a rock bottom at WrestleMania 18. That absolutely did not happen. He injured them in a house show at Rikishi days before. Number 8. He claims that he didn't know that The Rock and Steve Austin would come out to the ring to join him to cut a 3-way promo at WrestleMania 30. He went out first. The Rock and Stone Cold come out a minute or two later, and they cut a 3-way promo at WrestleMania 30. All three legends in the ring at the same time. Everybody talking their smack, getting big pops from the crowd. And Hogan says it was a surprise to him. He did not know that they just surprised him and decided to do it. But the truth of the matter is, that's been dispelled by both Austin and some producers. And also at the time, the WWE Network was filming their show 24 and actually filmed the three of them standing in the gorilla position, joking and laughing right before the promo. If you don't know what the gorilla position is in wrestling, it's right inside the curtain. That's where you stand when you are ready to go on. You immediately turn right and go out of the curtain. So, you're literally right there next to the curtain. That's called the gorilla position. I used to think that was because the guys would hype themselves up like a gorilla, they're going, but it turns out, from what I understand, that spot is named after Gorilla Monsoon, because that's where he used to sit with his monitor to let people know when it was time for them to go out. So no one missed cues. So, pretty cool. Nice little fun fact. Gorilla position is right behind the curtain. That's the next person to go out. Named after Gorilla Monsoon, because he sat right there with a little monitor for years telling people when to go. Alright, number 9. Claimed on the Arsenio Hall show during the big steroid scandal that WWF went through back in the day, that he had never done steroids. And then in the same segment admitted that he had taken steroids 3 times prescribed by a doctor, but that it was not to bulk him up or anything. It was for certain physical conditions he had to help fix. The doctor in question was later convicted and testified to selling steroids to the wrestlers, including Hogan. Hogan later admitted during a deposition that he had, in fact, been a regular user of steroids at the time. So, I don't think anybody believes that you get to be 6'8" and 280 pounds of muscle by saying your prayers and eating your vitamins. Common sense would tell you that very few people are going to make it into that condition, that you're going to get 24-inch arms, especially back then when it wasn't. It's more common now, and you can get there without steroids, but you can't get there without steroids when you're on the road 300 days a year. As much as you want to work out, you're going to eat like crap and stuff like that. So, all right. And number 10 for today. Hogan claims that he introduced the concept of entrance music with Eye of the Tiger in 1982, that no one had ever done it before him. He told Vince McMahon, let's do this, and it's going to be the best thing ever. It's a great idea I had. Another blatant lie, Gorgeous George was using entrance music, actually, in the 1940s, and as a matter of fact, Gorgeous George in the 40s used entrance music, and he used Pomp and Circumstance. In another weird way relating back to Hogan, that was Macho Man Randy Savage's theme music, was Pomp and Circumstance. That was in the 40s. A full 45 years before Hogan started using entrance music. Also, when everybody was still in regional territories in the 70s, it was very widespread and very common and industry-wide for almost everyone to use entrance music. It was almost always, some rock music from the time, whatever was popular. Licensing wasn't really a thing. But that was in the 70s, before he even joined WWF. So, or at the time, WWF with Vince Sr. So, yeah, lots of lies about Hogan. I'm thinking we should do a whole episode on actually try to drop some theories on why he actually does these lies. I don't know. I'd like to know, but if you guys have any theories, drop them in the comments. Like, subscribe, check out my website. I sell video game stuff. You want a console? I have Nintendo 64, GameCube. I have some really cool stuff that you're not going to find too easily anywhere else. And I have all the regular stuff too. That's BillTendo.com. Use the code Quest64. It'll get you 10% off at checkout. Thanks, guys.